Oh, that is intense. Oh my goodness. I give you a very weird opinion. Wow. Sorry. I need to take a step back. Any of you tried any fragrances or perfumes which are collaborations either with other perfume houses or perfume brands? These are 4 that I'm featuring today which I haven't tried, one of which I might have tried when it first launched but I can't really remember, and I thought it'd be something really fun because I have noticed that a lot of fragrance influencers, they are doing collaborations now, and these are literally my first impressions. I'm going to be very raw and real. Also, I'm unbiased because I don't really know any of these ladies personally, so hopefully it will give you guys a little bit more of a balanced opinion in terms of, you know, what these fragrances smell like, whether I like them, dislike them. I'm also going to put a bit of a disclaimer here. I know this comes without saying, but none of these ladies are perfumers or chemists themselves, so please don't take it quite literally that these are their very own fragrances. A lot of them are just creatively led, and you know, you can't really base a fragrance off of them personally. So again, that's why I'm going to be as unbiased as possible. So if you guys are interested, if you've never tried any of these before, definitely keep watching and we'll just jump straight into it. So the first thing I want to say is I think it's super fun, the fact that us fragrance influencers, I wouldn't even class myself as an influencer, probably just like a content creator, somebody who likes creating videos surrounding perfumes, and you know, I think it's so amazing that we can actually collaborate with different brands and different houses that we've bought from, say, for years, and we can create our own beautiful fragrances. So I think it's a really wonderful opportunity, and sometimes it is rare because obviously for you to become a perfumer you have to go through years of you know, you would need to get like a chemistry degree, and then you would have to do, like, I would imagine like a master's or something in perfumery, and go into like a slightly different direction, and that can take a lot of time. And if that's not necessarily your dream or your passion, but if you do like fragrances, then I think this is a great way of doing more of a creative avenue and showcasing notes that you really like. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm featuring 4 different ones today. All of these are samples, unfortunately, and you know, obviously I won't be able to kind of give you guys the full perspective on the fragrance, but at least with these samples I'll, you know, give you guys a very honest opinion. So I have 4 here. The first one that I really want to try is called Ledda. Well, the brand is called Ledda, and it's 22 Orris. Now, the actual brand itself was created by Stephanie Ledda, who is a really massive content creator on YouTube. I'm not sure whether she's probably on Instagram and TikTok and the other platforms, but where I know her is on YouTube, and I know that she's a massive fragrance lover. So I believe this is a brand created from that love, and as a result she has created her own fragrances within this line, and I just think it's wonderful. I mean, I definitely want to kind of get there one day. That would be a really fantastic opportunity. So kudos to Stephanie. I think that's absolutely fantastic. The fact that she's went out of her comfort zone, she's created a brand around fragrances and perfumes. I think good on you, girl. So we got 22 Orris. Now, the reason why I was really excited about this one is because obviously the Orris, and as you guys know, I'm a really big fan of Orris scented fragrances because they have all different aspects about them, and I just kind of want to see what road this takes us on. So I'm just going to double check the notes here. Oh, the notes look very interesting. So you have pear leaf, freesia, pink pepper in the top. In the mid you have Orris, jasmine, lily of the valley, and in the base notes you have marshmallow, musk, sandalwood, and moss. Musk, I can't even speak today. Moss, which is quite interesting. So I wonder whether this will be a little bit heavier on the florals or whether it'll be a bit more musky. And I don't particularly like reading Fragrantica reviews. I think they can really skew you, and a lot of the time they can be a little bit negative. I don't know, I don't really necessarily enjoy Fragrantica, but this has had some really good reviews, so I am quite happy so far, and I'm really looking forward to this. So let's give this a spray. Straight off the bat, to me it smells quite lactonic. I don't know whether that's maybe coming from the marshmallow. It's very creamy. It really reminds me actually of Blanche Bette for some reason. it has like that underlying muskiness, but what I enjoy about this one so far, and maybe my mind might change, you know, the more that it dries down, but it's not like a really claustrophobic or overwhelming musk. To me, it's quite soft, powdery, you know, almost a little bit angelic and feminine. It has a really nice level of sweetness in here as well. So I would personally say straight off the bat, although it is a bit more of a musky fragrance, which typically is associated to older women, this has a level of sweetness in here which is quite youthful, and it does definitely have a little bit of freshness in the beginning. And then soon, you know, I don't really pick up a lot of Orris, which I'm a little bit disappointed by, I won't lie. I was kind of hoping that I would pick up on a little bit more of a buttery feel, or it definitely has the powderiness, if that's even a word, but that's mainly coming from like this musk and this mallow in the background. It's not really, to me, coming from the iris, but I'm going to keep sniffing and just see what happens. So what's really interesting about this is I used to years ago have this La Perla fragrance, and I'll put up a picture of it here, and that one had a really big note of cashmere and white florals, so it was a very heavy white floral and cashmere fragrance, and it's almost as if that has had a baby with Blanche Bette from Liquid Imaginaire. It's like a really interesting mix of the two, and I actually prefer this to Blanche Bette. Unfortunately, that's a fragrance that just doesn't work for me at all. I find the musk to be a little bit claustrophobic, like I find it a little bit nauseating, whereas this is a lot easier going, fresher, very easy to wear and feminine. So overall, to be honest, Stephanie, I think you've done a fantastic job. I wished that there was a bit more Orris, a little bit more iris heavier type of note in here, and maybe it could have been featured a little bit more, but again, that's my only criticism. But overall, I think it's a really beautiful fragrance. Let me actually check what the price is, because that's also quite an interesting, just to see what the cost is. Right, so it says here 22 Orris Eau de Parfum 50ml is £55. It's on sale at the minute, 25% off. I think, honestly, that is really, really good. I think for the price, and for, you know, I can tell, by the way, that this is going to be a somewhat long-lasting fragrance. Is it projecting? Not that much, but does it really matter when it's a little bit more powdery, a little bit more musky? That's going to be close to the skin anyway, if you just want to smell put together, fresh, and kind of like cocooning. And for £55, do you know what, I'm actually quite impressed by that. So again, Stephanie, really well done on this fragrance, and that is 22 Orris from Ledda. I have another fragrance here, which is Amorous Intense by Navitus Parfums. Now, Navitus, I believe, is owned by Steven, sorry, from Redolescence, and maybe a couple of other content creators as well. I think the whole kind of premise behind the brand is to have collaborations with other content creators, which I think in theory is a really great idea. And I know for a fact that they've kind of collabed with a lot of different fragrance influencers, and as a result, you know, they have a perfume, or they have like an option whereby they can create a fragrance based on the notes they want to feature. So this one, I believe, is a collaboration with AI the Great, and I'll just pop her picture up here. She's very, very popular. I don't know her personally, so this is very unbiased, and I think, again, it's really fantastic the fact that these brands can offer collaborations with other fragrance influencers, especially when after some time you get to know which notes that you really enjoy, you really want to feature it, and you want to provide something for your audience as well. So I think that's really fantastic. And this one, let me just actually double check the notes, because I don't really know what's in here, and I want to really find out whether it's up my alley or not. So the top notes are apple, pear, almond. So far, so good. Middle notes are rum, ylang-ylang, and coffee. Oh my goodness, that's quite a nice combination. And then the base notes are sugarcane, caramel, whipped cream, and cinnamon. So this is very interesting, because to me automatically comes across very gourmand heavy, very fruity gourmand. And you know, I am a fan of gourmand fragrances. I do have a few within my collection, but you know, the only thing that I'm a little bit scared about is whether it's going to be, you know, nauseating or sickly in any type of way. So I really hope that they're going to do a good job here. I love the notes of almond and pear. I am a big fan of those, and the apple and the cinnamon, that might be a very interesting combination. Is it going to smell like apple pie? You know, kind of what gourmand realm are we going down here? Are we going down the cakey route? Are we going down the fruity? I mean, there's even like a boozy element with the rum. So let's give this a whirl, shall we? Oh, that is intense. Oh my goodness. Gracious me. Wow. Sorry. I need to take a step back because that is intense. They weren't lying when it came to the fragrance name. It is definitely an intense fragrance. So ladies, trust me when I say you will be noticed with this one. That's a start to begin with. Now, off the top, oh, sorry, I just need a minute because that has literally blown my socks off. Straight off the bat, the apple and the pear in here are very pronounced in the beginning. You have like a very sour apple type of note. It's almost as if you know, when you were young and you had those fizzy apple sweets, those sour kind of candies, that's exactly how this smells like. In the beginning, it's very, very powerful. And then what's interesting is you do definitely have like a bit of a lactonic caramelly type of base, and that's probably kind of the combination of the whipped cream and the caramel and the different notes. To be honest with you, I'm not really getting a massive amount of booziness or a massive amount of floral aspect from the ylang ylang. Neither am I getting much from the coffee. It's a nice fragrance. It's died down a lot, by the way. In the beginning, oh my goodness, it literally, I thought I was going to have a full-on atomic explosion in my nostrils because it was intense. They weren't lying by the intense, but luckily it's calmed down a lot, which is nice. And you know, it might be the case where if you do, like what I mentioned in the beginning, want to make a bit of a statement, especially if you're going out with the girls, I think that's always really nice. And if you want to be loud and projecting, but it's definitely calmed down a lot. I don't know whether I'm becoming a little bit anosmic to it now, but as I said, it becomes a lot creamier, a lot denser and more caramel-like in the base. Do I love it? I wouldn't say I love it. Neither would I say that it's like a horrible fragrance. It's nice, you know, and especially if you want to smell more candied, more fruity, more sweet, it's a lot more youthful, I would say, than other fragrances probably in this lineup. So again, if you want to have like a little bit of a fun spin on things like literal candy, then I think that's like a really nice touch. You know, a fragrance that it really reminds me of, and I don't know whether they've added Ambroxan or something in this to make it like really stand out, is A from Pantheon Roma. This is a lot more, I would say, youthful and a little bit more candied and abrasive than A from Pantheon Roma, but it kind of has that like fruity candy type of vibe going on. So overall, I don't really know how much to rate this. I haven't really rated any of them thus far. As I said, it isn't one that I would personally purchase. In fact, let me just have a look to see what the price is. My goodness, that is an expensive fragrance. So for 125 ml, which in fairness is a big bottle, it's not a little bottle, in comparison to the 50 ml from Ledda, is $295. Now in pounds, that would be equivalent to maybe like £250. For 125 ml, which again is a big bottle, it's kind of in line with prices nowadays, and I will be doing a video about, you know, the fragrance world and how it's become very, very expensive. It always was expensive, but increasingly a lot of the prices have hiked up. I think that's rather expensive. Just talking personally, I think that's quite expensive. So anyway, from Navitus Parfums, we have Amorous Intense. Now, moving on to another fragrance from Navitus Parfums, we have Lost in a Dream, which is a collaboration with Paulina Shah. I have watched her videos in the past, and I think she's like a lovely girl. Obviously, again, I don't know her personally, so I can't be biased in any type of way. And again, she's done a collaboration with Navitus, which I think is fantastic. Again, again, you know, I think the opportunity to be able to feature notes that you truly love is a fantastic opportunity. One day, praying to God that that will be me. One day, I would love to do something like that, but again, hey ho, I'm a smaller channel, so I doubt that that will happen. Anyway, Lost in a Dream is a very interesting fragrance, so I'm just going to read out the notes for you guys. So we have in the top milk, cinnamon, bergamot and orange. In the middle notes we have marshmallow, croissant, amberwood, almond, orchid, fig nectar, interesting, coffee and jasmine. And in the base notes we have Madagascar, vanilla, musk, sandalwood, oak tree, tonka and tolu balsam. So far, actually, I won't lie to you guys, I'm rather intrigued because I love the notes of fig and amberwood, love the notes of tolu and tonka. There's a lot of notes in here that I really enjoy. The only thing that I'm a little bit nervous around is the milk and the marshmallow. Again, I've talked about it loads, but like tonic notes for me can go either way. Sometimes I really love them, sometimes I don't like them as much because they can be a little bit nauseating and sickly. So I really hope, fingers crossed, it will be a good one. So let's spray this on our skin. Let's give this a go. That's interesting. Okay, we'll give it a minute. Right? Sorry, I'm just trying to like gather my thoughts. Like whenever I do first impressions, it's so hard because you want to be speaking at the same time just to kind of cover any silence. But honestly, I don't, you know, I like it, but I don't know why I like it. And it's milky and it's powdery and it's a bit, you know, almost musky, but it really reminds me of a particular fragrance and I don't know what it is. It might be commodity milk. It could be something else, but you know, I think it's quite a nice fragrance. It's very calming to me. It's not overly sweet, which thank God, because I was actually quite worried about that. It definitely has like an overall powdery type of vibe, but again, I don't know where that's coming from because I swear in the notes there wasn't anything. Oh, musk, okay, that would make sense. And the sandalwood, that makes even more sense, which makes it smell a little bit creamier and musky. You know, the more that I'm smelling it, the less I'm getting of the other notes, which in the beginning I was like, oh, this is really nice. You know, I could pick up on all of the nuances of the various different notes. Like you've got this figgy kind of thing going on, this floral type of thing going on. But then ultimately, it's just dried down to actually very similar to 22 Orris from Ledda. It has this lactonic, milky, musky, sweet undertone, which is a bit unfortunate because, again, as I mentioned, there was a lot more going on in the beginning. But would I say this is a nice fragrance? Absolutely. And I think especially if you want to smell womanly, feminine, put together, if you want to smell even cozy, I would imagine this would be really nice in the autumn and winter time, or even, you know, the spring mornings when it's nice and crisp outside. This would be a really lovely fragrance. So let's actually see what the price is of this one, because obviously the other one was quite expensive, so I'm going to see what the cost of this one is out of interest. So Lost in Dreams, Navitus Parfums, Lost in a Dream, sorry, my bad. So let's have a look here on the website. So for 100 ml, which is slightly smaller than the other one, you have $195, which again in pounds would be what, 150, 160 pounds. It's in line, yeah, definitely for like the mill, it's in line with most niche fragrances out there nowadays. So I wouldn't say it's rather expensive. It's definitely not as expensive as the other one, even though it's about 25 ml less. Would I personally buy it for that amount? Probably not. I would be more inclined to buying the 22 Orris from Ledda, honestly, because I think that for, you know, what you're getting price-wise is actually quite good. This, if I was to get on a discount, maybe I would be open to it. But again, you know, it loses its magic, you know, towards the base. But it, as I said, it's a really lovely fragrance. I think they've done a great job here. I wish it kind of brought out the other nuances more towards the base, but that is the reality of fragrances. A lot of the time when they start to dry down, you do lose the other components within the fragrance. So you know, well done, Paulina. I think this is a nice one. So that is Lost in a Dream from Navitus. Now, to end off this video, I have a fragrance from Fragrance de Bois, and this is a slightly older release, like from a few years ago. And actually, when it first got released, I would swear that somebody had like sent me this sample, but to be honest with you, it's been that long that I can't remember how it smells like. So this is almost like a new impression for me. It's been so long that I can't really remember, and honestly I think it was more in passing that I smelt it. I didn't really give it a proper go. So this is Minuit et Demi from Fragrance de Bois, which of course is the collaboration with Demi, who is probably the most popular fragrance content creator out there, alongside maybe a Jeremy fragrance. So she is very popular, and Fragrance de Bois is one of those brands that I do really love. I don't love all of the fragrances, I won't lie to you, and they are very expensive, but the ones that I do have, I absolutely adore them. So this is going to be a very interesting one for me. I am really intrigued to see how this one smells like. Before we do, as we did with the other ones, let's have a look at the notes, shall we? So straight off the bat, I can already see it's going to be a gourmand leaning fragrance, which again is not a bad thing. I do have gourmand fragrances. They're not my most favorite olfactive group, but I still really like gourmand. So we have cardamom, pimento, bergamot. In the mid, we have caramel and coffee. In the base, we have two types of vanilla, which is interesting: tobacco, cinnamon, musk, cashmere, liquor, cedar, and vetiver. So just based off of those notes, I would imagine this one is probably a little bit more unisex leaning in comparison to maybe the other three that we've just gone through. So let's give this one a go, shall we? I don't want it mixing with the other one, but again, I didn't want to do this on tester strips, guys, because I feel like, I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but on my skin, definitely the best way. So let's give this a go, shall we? You know, that has surprised me, because I didn't realize that it would be that spicy in the beginning. Definitely the pimento is giving you a bit of a kick. Oh, okay. I don't really know what to say straight away. Let me just give it a minute. This really reminds me of another fragrance that I have in my collection, and for the life of me, I don't know what it is, and it's really bothering me because it definitely has a spicy beginning with the pimento. It almost has like a bit of a saffrony, cinnamony type of thing going on. Again, that's not in the notes, but that's kind of like what I'm getting here. It definitely has a little bit of a kick. You smell the coffee, but the coffee to me isn't intense, but it's almost as if they've mixed a mixture of coffee and chocolate in a weird way. It doesn't really smell super coffee-like to me. It smells more like mocha as opposed to a coffee. And the only way that I can describe this, which is like probably the most unusual way one person can describe this, but that's why you guys are here. I give you a very weird opinion, but we keep moving. This is almost as if you've ever had in your life, hear me out, a chili hot chocolate. The Aztecs used to have like this really beautiful like chili hot chocolate kind of combination, and years ago I tried it, and honestly it was unbelievable. One of the best things that I've ever tried. I really like spicy things, and this is spicy but without it smelling masculine, which I really enjoy. Sometimes, you know, when you are buying super spicy fragrances, they definitely can lean a little bit more masculine, whereas this one still has a heart of a unisex type of vibe. Definitely both a man and a woman can wear this, and what I love about this is that the sweetness isn't overwhelmingly sweet. It's not nauseating, it's not sickly, it's just kind of in the background. And the vanilla, right, so there is definitely a fragrance that it reminds me of, and finally I've realized what it is. So Navitus Parfums from Orman Jane, it has a mixture of bourbon vanilla and Madagascan vanilla. Now they used to have a vanilla fragrance within their range, which was the predecessor to Navitus Parfums, and this is almost like a spicier hot chocolate version of that fragrance, although they're not really similar at all, but I'm kind of getting that vibe. And the reason why I say that is that a lot of vanilla fragrances, they can go either way. They can go vanillin, which is almost like sickly candied sweet, or they can go to the vanilla extract type of realm where it's a bit more buttery, a little bit more wearable. So I'm quite impressed by this. Would I say it's mind-blowing? Definitely not. And the other thing that I would say as well, it's very subtle. You can not pick up that much of it. So again, if you're looking for something to stand out, I would not recommend this fragrance. This is definitely closer to the skin. This might leave like a really nice trail, but again, you'd need to spray a lot of this. So that's the only disappointing thing I would say. And you know, it doesn't to me have a lot of depth. It's just kind of drifting in the background, you know, with all of these nuances, but nothing is really standing out to you. But would I say it's a nice fragrance? Absolutely. So from Fragrance de Bois and collaboration with Demi, that is Minuit et Demi. So guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I will be doing a men's version of this, by the way, and there will be some really interesting ones on there, some of which are their own brands, like guys who used to be fragrance content creators who've created their own fragrance brands. That will be really interesting, and you know, very famous popular people as well. So anyway, this was just a little bit of fun. I just thought it'd be really interesting to try other people's creations, and if you guys did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. It massively helps with the channel, and I will see you later. Bye guys.